Hello, everyone. Welcome to this explainer of Figma Config 2026. We're skipping the fluff today because this isn't just your standard software update. We're looking at a massive, fundamental shift in how we actually build digital products. Figma is literally tearing down the walls between disciplines and handing us this entirely new toolbox. So we're going to look at some incredible new materials we now get to work with and the revolutionary tools we have to shape them.
Okay, let's dive into this by looking at a statement that pretty much sets the tone for everything we're about to talk about. Figma's CEO Dylan Field dropped this hook during the keynote, and it completely shatters that age-old, exhausting design versus code debate. For years, our tools have forced us to pick a lane, right? You're either designing how it looks or you're coding how it works. But this quote reframes the whole thing. Code is no longer this separate, isolated discipline stuck at the end of an assembly line. It's actually a material. It's just as shapeable as texture, typography, or color.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at code as a brand new design material. Then we'll get into AI workflows with Weave, generative plugins on demand, bending pixels with shaders, and bringing it all to life with the new Figma Motion. Finally, we'll wrap up by talking about what this means for the future of our creativity. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Code as a design material. Breaking out of the silo. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it mirrors what happened with vectors. Years ago, designing with vectors went from being this solitary, isolated task into a totally beautiful, collaborative, multiplayer activity. Cursors flying everywhere, right? Well, code is finally following suit with what they're calling code layers. We're not just talking about a dinky little text editor and a side panel here. These are fully functional, spatial code environments that live natively right on your Figma canvas. You can import local folders, or, get this, pull in repositories directly from GitHub and explore them side by side. You zoom in, pan around, and interact with live code environments exactly like you do with vector layers.
Think about the old way we used to do this. Honestly, it was frustrating. You'd be working alone in these siloed IDEs, completely disconnected, and then you'd basically just throw prototype screen recordings over the wall at your team to see if they liked it. The new way, it's entirely spatial and collaborative. If you want to branch a code idea, you just hold the Option key and drag the layer, exactly like a design frame. It gives you this amazing bird's eye view to see all the flow states at once. And the kicker, when you make visual updates, you can push that code directly back to your GitHub repo. A total game changer.
Section 2, AI workflows with Weave. Node-based generation.
So, last fall, Figma acquired Weave, and now they've integrated it natively. This brings really professional, repeatable AI workflows right into your day-to-day tasks. To grasp how powerful this is, let's walk through this exact recipe from the keynote. Imagine you get a massive batch of product photos from different vendors, the lighting is totally mismatched, the quality is all over the place, it's just a mess. Well, step 1, you input those unstructured photos. Step 2, apply a single brand style reference image using the Weave AI style transfer node. And step 3, boom, instantly you get a highly cohesive, stylized product set. The hats, the shoes, the shirts, they all look like they were shot in the exact same studio setup. No agonizing manual rendering required. And style transfer is literally just the beginning here. You can use these Weave nodes to generate super smooth 360-degree product videos from just a front and back image. You can spin up stylized renders from really basic low-fidelity animations, replace backgrounds, texturize any uploaded image, all in seconds. But here's the absolute best part. These aren't just lucky one-off prompts. You can package these node workflows as custom tools, expose just the basic inputs and outputs, and share them in the Figma Tools panel for your whole team to reuse over and over. Section 3, generative plugins on demand. Build your own tools instantly. And this brilliantly illustrates where Figma truly unlocks your workspace, because absolutely no coding is required to build these new tools. The old plugin experience meant scouring the community for hours, hoping somebody already built the thing you needed, or, writing complex code to build it yourself. But the new experience, it flips the script. You just prompt the Figma agent with what you're trying to do, and it instantly generates a fully functional, custom plugin right there in your Properties panel. The keynote showed off some incredibly specific examples to prove just how robust this is. For instance, a designer named Georgia generated a plugin just to randomly adjust rectangle heights so they looked like a realistic audio waveform. Miggy built a bento grid builder tailored to his own specific layout style. Athletics Agency built a generator that uses real data to draw precise Formula One racetracks.
Oh, and an engineer named Lauren even spun up a plugin to generate nail art designs based on the Config 2026 aesthetic. The takeaway? No idea is too niche, too specific, or too silly to become a fully functional, shareable tool. Section 4. Shaders enter the canvas. Bending pixels with math. All right. For years, this wildly powerful engineering concept basically existed in the shadows for most designers. I'm talking about shaders. So what exactly is a shader in our context? Basically, they're visual algorithms that use 3D math and geometry to warp, color, and distort pixels. Historically, you'd have to geek out on math for years to even attempt this. But now, you just prompt the Figma agent. You literally drop in a reference image, say, hey, make me an effect that looks like this. And the agent writes all that complex math under the hood, applying it to your layers as highly customizable fills or effects. These shaders generally come in two flavors. First, fills. These are your source materials. Think rippling water caustics or these crazy 3D mesh gradients, all controlled visually by little handles right there on the canvas. Second, you have effects, which sit on top of your layers to morph them. We are talking sci-fi lens distortions, realistic page curls, interactive particles that actually track your mouse movements. And the real magic? They're stackable. You can throw a GUI merge right on top of a lens distortion, completely restacking the math to create these mind-melting, next-level visual combos. Section 5, Introducing Figma Motion. The canvas gets a new dimension. Let's move to and see how this builds, because the canvas isn't just spatial anymore. It has officially gained the dimension of time. We are finally moving past static frames into a fully dynamic timeline. The timeline is now a native design primitive inside Figma. It's got auto-keying, just hit Shift plus K and move your object. It has full visual Bezier easing controls. It even introduces 3D transforms. So yes, you can animate on the X, Y, and Z axes. And if you hate manual keyframing, there's agent-assisted automation. You just grab your objects, prompt the AI to slide and fade in text concurrently, and it does it. Plus, because this is Figma, you still get that real-time collaboration with multiplayer cursors flying around directly on the timeline. Now here is where everything we've talked about completely connects. Because motion is fundamentally built into Figma now, you can combine it directly with shaders. Every single property of a complex shader can be animated over time. You can keyframe the spacing of a mesh, you can animate the intensity of a chromatic aberration bleeding onto your text, or even automate noise displacement to give something a wobbly, organic feel over a 5-second loop. You are dynamically animating complex math without ever leaving the design interface. It is wild. Now, you might be wondering, as amazing as all this canvas magic looks, how do you actually get this motion into production? Well, the answer is that this is a fully realized production pipeline. It's not just some conceptual toy. Through dev mode, you can pull the code directly or send it straight via MCP to your own LLM or Figma Make to ship it in real code. It completely bridges that gap between design and dev. Doing visual work? Export right to MP4 or WebM for high-quality video. For the web, you've got lightweight, scalable, animated SVGs. And yeah, for sure, if you need the classics, you can always just export a good old-fashioned looping GIF. Section 6, Raising the Creative Ceiling, the Future of Design. So the crucial point is, what do these staggering technological leaps actually mean for us? Dylan Fields summed it up perfectly. He said, AI can lower the floor. It's up to all of you to raise the ceiling. Think about it. With agents writing complex shader math and automatically setting keyframes for us, all that tedious technical busy work is just stripped away. True creative excellence isn't about knowing how to manually push pixels anymore. It depends purely on your vision, your curiosity, and your willingness to just get in there and experiment. And that leaves us with one final big thought. The gap between your imagination and reality has literally never been smaller. Code is now a material. Your tools are generated on demand. The canvas bends to your exact will across space and time. So with these incredible new materials and tools right at your fingertips, what will you make when you can make absolutely anything? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Now get out there, get on that canvas, and start building.